And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team. And our number one goals are to educate, entertain, enlighten. Most importantly, we want to engage with you so that we can help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's the way you can connect with us, and we would love to engage you. Our real estate talk show is all based on helping you win in any marketplace. Today is going to be real heavy on credit and appraisal today. Here, a couple of our expert contributors in studio. William Crowley back in the house, a.k.a. the Credit Magician. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, good to be back, buddy. Good to be back.
Yeah, man.
And
You're a traveling man lately, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I'm Fort Myers, Tallahassee, playing pickleball.
Nice. That's fun, right? That's a fun game.
Oh, yeah. Picking up.
Well, you got me into the racquetball, so.
Yeah. And then I left you. Got you in and I left you.
Well, hey, I can play. I'm a big boy. I can play with them boys.
Yeah.
I get beat by the 70-year-old men, though, man. They're good.
Yeah, you got to watch out. They just stand still and just pinch.
They know about those angles, man. They're they know exactly how to hit that ball to go.
Just call me for backup, though. I come down there and tell you.
All right.
Don't worry, buddy.
All right. We got Ray Hall in the house, too. Ray Hall Appraisals. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks for having me back, Brandon. Always love being here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What are we going to talk about today?
I wanted to talk about some misconceptions with appraisals.
Okay.
I go to a lot of houses. I'm going to 3 more today.
Yep.
And, a lot of people don't understand the appraisal process and, what our role is what our role is in that process and things of that nature. So just kind of want to go over a couple questions I get a lot and, see if I can shed some light on it for some people out there.
Cool. Let's do it. Yeah. Those misnomers. It seems like we attack misnomers on this show. There's so many misnomers out there. Yesterday's show, I was talking with Scott about the 2% rule. You ever hear if you're looking at refinance, you got to move 2 points. The rate's got to be 2 points low for it makes sense. He says, no, that's a misnomer. There's a lot of misnomers out there, and sometimes people take them, as a creed. They're like, wow, that's a really strong. It's wrong. A lot of the stuff we're taught is wrong, and you really got to understand that to know the difference. This segment's brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The beautiful Bilmar Beach Resort over on beautiful Treasure Island, and it's just a great place to go visit, whether you're planning a wedding, a business trip, a corporate outing, or just looking for that weekend of fun over on the beaches. Sloppy Joe's restaurant on site. They've got 2 pools on site, all types of fun stuff to do over there. And they're actually even having a Sloppy Joe's to host bartender competition. And Clyde Smith, we had him on the show last week. He asked me to judge this bartending competition. I said, sure. That sounds good. That sounds like some fun. We'll go and make a weekend out of it. But Sloppy Joe's on the Beach will host the first annual #GetSloppy bartending competition on Friday the 26th, 5 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $10 at the door. So they're going to have some fun, and they're inviting all types of bartenders from across the state. It looks like are going to be at this event. So it's going to be fun. And that's on Treasure Island, and Sloppy Joe's on the beach as well, Gulf Boulevard and Treasure Island. So our official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Bilmar Beach Resort. I love that place. Lots of fun over there on the beaches. And as you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own and operate that team. We got a couple of hot listings here I want to let you know about here. This property, it's 223 South River Hills. This one is in Temple Terrace, close to USF, estate-style home on a conservation lot. And the best part is it's riverfront. It's on the Hillsborough River, and it's almost a half an acre in the heart of Temple Terrace. Great real estate opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com for all of our real estate listings. All right, so let's jump right into it. We got William Crowley. We're going to start off with William Crowley here, the Credit Magician, the Credit Man.
What's happening, baby?
So you say you want to talk about DIY today, how they can do it, yourself, right?
Yeah, the day of the acronym, Peach, now DI. I thought you said DUI, but it's
No.
DI.
I don't want one of those. None of those, please.
Anyway, yeah. Hey, I'm back. It's good to be back. Working on my tan out there in the sun.
Yeah.
Doing the running, the racquetball, pickleball, everything else. But anyway, we'll talk about credit repair a little bit here today and give people like you talk about. I heard you saying misnomers and misconceptions out there. There's a lot of misconceptions, misnomers
That's
in
right.
our industry as well. And what I really try to tell people is to be proactive first and foremost. Even before you go to the realtors or the banks or wherever you're trying to secure these loans from, get your credit right before you go. Don't go there and then have them to tell you, hey, your credit's bad, you got to go back and straighten it up, because it could take years to do that. So if you be proactive and get involved and start cleaning your stuff up legally ahead of time, then that's what we want you to do. Now, what I try to do is, of course, I market my services, but I try to tell people, look, try to do it yourself first, okay? And there's the consumer laws out there. There's no patent on these consumer laws. These are consumer laws that are there for the consumers, created by Congress in 1970, which was the Fair Credit Reporting Act. These are laws that are there for the consumer to protect themselves from the abuses of the credit reporting agencies. They're just private companies. They're not part of the government. They like to kind of masquerade like they're part of the government, because then people kind of shy away from challenging it and whatnot. But the Fair Credit Reporting Act was put there by Congress in 1970 to challenge the credit reporting agencies. And one of the misnomers or misconceptions is that negative information stays on your credit report for 7 years. Total misnomer, because of the fact that the credit reporting agencies, the Fair Credit Reporting Act is there to remove the information prior to the 7-year statute of limitations. The seven-year statute of limitations only comes into play if the credit reporting agencies are following the law in the first place, and they're not. Okay, so that it voids the whole 7-year statute of limitation when the credit reporting agency misses steps. So when people come to me, I tell them, if the information does not belong to you, then file a police report, because you're probably a victim of identity theft. If it does belong to you, then that's when I want to see you, or that's why I want to show you how you can clean it up yourself. And that's confusing to people. They say, well, I did it. It's mine. And I say, I know that. The information is yours, but the credit reporting agencies have to follow the steps before putting it on your credit report. If they don't, and you can find out the steps that they missed, then you can have that information removed prior to the 7-year statute of limitation.
So that's kind of the loophole that you can utilize to improve your scores to be ready to go purchase a car, purchase a house, or whatever.
Now, I'm glad you said scores here, because a lot of times, even my website says raise our score, and I hate that. My marketing person told me to use raise our score. But what credit repair companies do, what their primary job is to remove information from the credit report. And most of the time, people already have existing positive trade lines. That's how your score is going to go up. So we play probably a 50% role in raising that score. But our primary objective is to remove the negative information off the credit report, allowing your positive information to flourish, to shine. And that's what helps your score to go up. Now, if you don't have positive information, as we're removing the negatives, then you can add positive trade lines, which is very simple.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Difficult.
So positive trade lines.
Yeah. And I like that when I stand in front of a group of people and I ask them, does anybody here have positive trade lines? And people say they look astounded. And I say, okay, so everybody here's got bad credit. Because a positive trade line is something that you pay on time.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what it is. It's a positive trade line. It's a trade line that you have that you paid on time. So if you don't have them and you have bad credit, then the first thing you want to do is not to go out and try to apply for credit. Clean up your credit. Clean up the negative existing information on there using the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Have that information, have as much of that information legally removed as possible, which opens the door for you to go out and try to secure some positive trade lines. And there's numerous ways to do that. Now, some people take shortcuts. They go the route of an authorized user. I'm against authorized user, okay? But it does help you along the way. I don't know, in your industry, when you see authorized user on the credit report, I mean, well, you don't really look at the credit report like the
Not as much as the mortgage guys are.
Yeah, the mortgage guys. But when they say AU, that means that somebody just put you on their credit report, on their credit card, and you're taking advantage of, your credit shines because of somebody else paying their bills on time.
Right, yeah.
So the underwriters know that, and they really don't accept those type of trade lines. So I tell people, go out and just apply for your own trade lines. Either get secured trade lines, Credit Karma. Most of those free credit reporting websites give you access to trade lines. You know, they'll I mean, you know, they're going to be kind of expensive.
Higher credit card
interest
rates.
Yeah, higher interest rate. But you could just use that temporarily until your credit gets on par.
Yeah.
And then you can go and apply for unsecured credit cards with much lower interest rates. But
Right.
you're just buying your credit back because you have messed up. You know, you haven't paid your bills on time or had
Yeah.
other hiccups,
Yeah.
which cause your credit score to go down.
And it makes sense too. By the way, if you just joined us, I'm Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with William Crowley here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. If you have secured trade lines, or let's just say a credit card that's an unsecured credit card, you know, you're going to charge your groceries, your gas, your basic purchases anyways that you're going to make anyways, and then every month you pay them down to about a 30 to 35%.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people get into paying them off. I tell them, well, if you're going to go for a home or you're trying to apply for credit or refinance a home or whatever, don't pay the credit cards entirely off. Just keep them below about 30%.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep open revolving trade lines, at least 3 seasoned ones.
Yes.
Okay. A seasoned one I say is about a year or more that you've had it. Okay. But
Right.
just really that's up to the underwriter. They'll give you the guidelines on that. I do the credit repair, and
Yep.
the lenders tell me, well, here's what I'm looking for. Oh,
Good.
I hear the music coming.
There we go. That means it's time for a quick timeout here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got William Crowley in the house, credit restoration, and the William Crowley is known as the credit magician
On the radio.
as well, on the radio.
And what am I known as in the hood, buddy?
You got the credit man in the
That's it,
hood,
baby.
And we got Ray Hall Appraisals coming up as well as our feel-good story of the day is a good one as well. Animal shelters waive adoption fees thanks to donations by Miranda Lambert's Mutt Nation Foundation. Right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals, your negotiations. We're going to help you with that. And we're back here in studio. William Crowley's in the house, credit restoration. We got Ray Hall Appraisals as well. This segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Lucky Dill restaurant here in Tampa, right on Boy Scout Boulevard. They've got a location in Palm Harbor as well. And it's excellent food, home of the sandwich at 8 Brooklyn. The food is amazing. All types of great, other entrees as well, salads, soups, all kinds of good stuff. And it's just a great ambiance. Has a really good feel in there. Has that sports feel, that of course that New York vibe to it, and it's a lot of fun to go hang out at the Lucky Dill, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings here. We got a property on Port Marnock that is in Odessa. This property is in a golf course community, gated community, and it's a beautiful home in Turnberry at the Eagles, and it's one of the best lots in the Eagles with no front or backyard neighbor. You've got pool, water views, spa, just a great opportunity. 12610 Port Marnock Drive in Odessa. Hot real estate properties here. Compliments of the Platinum MVP team.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, we got my man Ray Hall in the house. Ray Hall Appraisals.
Thanks for having me.
One of our favorite topics in real estate, the value. What is the value of this home, Brandon? And I come in on a listing appointment. I pull my comps. I try to, get as close as I can to the value for the owner. And it's sometimes you look at the absorption rates. You look at what are active. What active properties are out there. You look at pending sales. You look at primarily at closed sales to try to figure out what the actual market is, because a closed sale is going to have more weight to it.
Exactly. Anybody can list anything for whatever they want.
Right.
So when we're doing our appraisals, we look at mostly the closed sales in order to estimate that value. But those listings are important too. Yeah. Because if everything's been selling, hypothetically at $250,000. Yeah. But now everything is listed at $190,000. Yeah. You've got to kind of think, well, what's happening in this market? Yeah. Are the sellers becoming distressed? Something's happening. There's a change. So, when we do an appraisal, we do look at, everything that's going on. We have to do that broad, overlook of the market and see, kind of determine where it's going and where it's been.
Right. Yeah. You look at the idea of when a real estate market is heated up, the market's heated up, and it's been kind of hot. Now you have mortgage interest rates fueling that even more at record lows still. You got a vibrant economy. We just had yesterday's show. We had a gentleman from the CDC, the Community Development Corporation here, a Tampa Bay nonprofit. He had some interesting stats. He said, in short, there's not enough housing for the workforce. People are having to drive from Hillsborough, from Pasco to basically serve the community. Yeah, and that's usually what's the driving forces in the market. It's why, I personally live out in the New Tampa area, and you'll see that the values are a lot different than, say, a home down here in South Tampa, because you're so close to those the jobs down here and the economic centers and then downtown Tampa, whereas by me, it's a lot more of a commute to get to work every day. Yeah. So you do see it, reflecting those values, and that's something we look at, and that's why it's so important to, determine your value from sales in that neighborhood. Right. I had someone argue with me on an appraisal once where the house was in Lutz, and they were, because it was an older house, they pulled a comp from South Tampa, and I said, well, I'm sorry you don't agree with my value, but. Lutz to South Tampa? South Tampa, yeah. That's not even. It was, but this was a rare house for the area. It was a much older home. Yeah. So that's why they pulled that comp. Wow. And I had to kind of say, well, that's a completely different market, and that's not reflective, because again, you have that big difference between economic areas and 30 miles away. Yeah, exactly. That's like, wow. Okay. Yep. That's a stretch.
Now, if one appraiser, y'all pretty much go on a guideline, right? I mean, like you wouldn't give a different appraisal to someone else. Right?
No, I've found most appraisals, you'll get different values, but they're usually within about 10% of each other.
Okay, 10%,
because we do have, we have the basics of the appraisal, which is the USPAP, the Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice. And that's not a whole lot of guidelines. But then you have what we call additional scope of work that's given to us by the lenders, which goes back to Fannie Mae, what they want. So when you look at that appraisal report, you'll see that's a Fannie Mae form. Because most mortgages are sold to Fannie Mae, they created that form and they want it. So a lot of times when the lenders come back to me saying, can you make this change or that change, or can you clarify on this, it's because they want to make sure they're satisfying the requirements of Fannie Mae,
right,
and they don't have to worry about it later. When if the loan goes into default, Fannie Mae can come back and say, you have to purchase this mortgage back because this was done incorrectly.
Yeah, because there's that whole secondary market to it as well. People don't realize that these mortgages, where do they go, right? They don't know. They get packaged as mortgage-backed securities and then sold on the secondary market, and that's where we heard last time. Well, China bought a lot of our bad debt. That's when when the crash happened. That's where a lot of that happened to land.
Yep, and for a while I was working for a large global bank, and my job was to argue with Fannie Mae over appraisal issues. So my team was called the escalations team, and we were the last resort whether or not Chase was going to buy the loan back or not.
Yeah.
And it was a great job, and it was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
Because it really gave you insight to Fannie Mae, and people say a lot about Fannie Mae, but it's a good organization, and a lot of smart people over there, and I think it really helped me grow into becoming a better appraiser and understanding what we're doing when we're valuing these.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. It's a tough job. It's a very tough job to be in that position. Because of the dynamic, because of the emotions involved, especially for a seller. When they're valuing their home that they lived in, they put all this money, they poured all the sweat equity in some cases. The situation. Okay, let's go. I want to go through a checklist of items that would be potentially added to a home, and then you can give us your interpretation on value. Solar.
Depends on the house and the area. Potentially, yes, could add value. Potentially, could not.
Okay.
Could not?
It is a potential. I've been in an area where I did an appraisal on an older, very small home, and I pulled my comparables, and the way we estimate that value of that amenity is I'll go through all my comparables, and I'll have one or two that have that. And I'm going to do all my other adjustments. I'm going to run regression analysis. I'm going to do everything I can to have the most accurate adjustments. And then if those two that have that amenity are significantly different than those other ones, well, that's my adjustment. If they're $10,000 higher than the other ones after all the other adjustments, that's likely the supported adjustment for that value, and that's the value it's bringing to your home. And I had it where I did all my adjustments. It was the lowest sale of all my comparables. So there was none. But then a few miles away, I did a larger house, and it was quite a bit of value. And I was able to find a comparable that was similar in size and had solar and was selling above everything else in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. And it's like I always tell people, even my own sister was getting her kitchen renovated.
Yeah.
And she said, she was telling me how she was going to have a realtor come in and this and that. I said, well, why don't you hire an appraiser? I mean, I know I'm your little brother, but, and she didn't even think about it, having that person come in and determine, is there value in what I'm doing?
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. We're talking with Ray Hall Appraisals here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Pool, spa.
Will bring that value, but not what you pay.
Right.
And I always tell somebody, if you want a pool, get a pool because you like pools.
Yeah.
I have a pool. I built the pool after I built the house, and it did not bring the amount of the value was not dollar for dollar for what I paid, and that happens, most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time you don't get, and it happens where I go to the house to do the appraisal, and I have the list of everything they've done, right down to the light bulbs. And they're expecting dollar for dollar value back into the house.
Right.
And I have to sit there and, sorry, a lot of people do these full house automation systems.
Yeah.
And they're great. And there's some value to it. but depending on the area. But I did one. It was so funny. I'm meeting, and it was the homeowner's wife, and she said, yeah, he put the system in about 6 months ago after we bought the house. We didn't know we were going to have to leave. She goes, he didn't tell me how much it cost until we put the house up for sale.
Oh, man.
So,
yeah. And, of course, they wanted to add that onto the sales price.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
And, it did have some contributory value, but not what they were hoping for, unfortunately.
It's tough. It's nice. It's one of those nice haves.
Yes.
The alarm system, the cameras, everything's, all high tech. And, you can hit buttons and see inside and all that good stuff. Especially now with smartphones, you got all this connectivity.
It's very cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that with our ADT system. We just got back from the Keys, and we could tell what was going on at the house and things like that. So it's interesting. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got a great show for you here today. William Crowley, aka the Credit Magician, in the house. Ray Hall Appraisals. And
we got to get Ray a name.
We got to come up with it. Ray the Appraiser.
Ray the Appraiser.
Ray the Appraiser. He's got one. We got Feel Good Story of the Day is a good one as well. Animal shelters waive adoption fees thanks to donations by Miranda Lambert's Mutt Nation Foundation right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. The Consumer Quarterback Show page out there as well. And we'll be right back after this short timeout. Don't go anywhere.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate negotiations, your business. We're going to help you maximize your profits on the sale of your real estate properties by featuring your property in ways that other real estate companies don't. And that's our show on Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, Sony TV. Of course, 5 o'clock drive time right here on 1380 The Biz, the Wall Street Business Network. And we have our weekend show Sunday mornings on FM 102.5 The Bone, one of the largest FM stations in the area. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving. The official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Brothers Easy Moving. And whether you're planning a local or even a long distance move, Brothers Easy Moving is the trusted choice here in Tampa Bay, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that they are a first-class organization. They did a great job with our move to our new house just recently. So Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors on our website at consumerqb.com. A lot of information there. You've got the show contributors tab. Of course, you can also submit a contact form, and we're going to make sure we get right back to you before our head hits the pillow. That's our promise to you. We're going to take care of you there. Our radio family out there, we appreciate you listening to the show, and it's all about you, helping you win in your real estate business, your life. There's 80 different categories of content here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and it's all around helping you understand your buying decisions, helping you avoid a lot of the commission-based advice that's so prevalent out there in our communities. And that's what we set the show up almost 6 years ago now, helping you win. That's our goal. William Crowley's in the house, credit restoration expert, a.k.a. the credit magician. We got Ray Hall Appraisals in studio as well. So we're talking real heavy on real estate today, credit improvement, identity theft prevention, recovery, lots of ways that we can help you here. So William Crowley, back to you.
What's happening, bro? What's happening?
You know, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to put myself in the consumer's mindset. You know, like, hey, you know, what are consumers thinking about right now? I think, you know, the identity theft, we see it. You know, identity theft's out there. So then, you know, if something does happen to your credit, what do? You know, how do you get your identity back? I think that's an area that we should explore.
Well, I always say the biggest perpetrator of identity theft is the credit reporting agencies themselves.
Right.
Unfortunately, they're the ones that's supposed to be protecting our credit. They're the ones that's actually abusing it more than anybody. And the way that they're doing it is that they're marketing your information. That's how they make money. They really should be making money by protecting your identity, but they make money by actually selling your information to anybody. They don't screen these people or anything. They got the right dollar amount, they get your information. Unless you, being proactive as a consumer, are familiar with the consumer block. Okay, the
consumer block.
Yeah, and that's can I give that number out on there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Call this number. Everybody should have this on their Social Security number. 888-567-8688. 888-567-8688. Call that number and put a promotional block on your credit report. Most consumers don't know that because the credit reporting agencies don't share this information with you. But once you call that number, it's a free service. And it takes you off of all three credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They can no longer market your information. You don't want your information marketed, okay? That's what everybody should know that. Whether you have good credit or bad credit, stop letting the credit reporting agencies make money off you marketing your information when it's going to fall into some scrupulous characters' hands, and they're going to do whatever they want with it. And so it's your credit, no matter whether you instigated these negative entries or someone else instigated those negative entries on your credit report. You're the one that's still responsible for the negative information on your credit report. So stop, lessen your visibility. And the best way to do that is to stop the credit reporting agencies from marketing your information. Call that number, 888-567-8688. They're the biggest perpetrator of identity theft. Most people don't know that.
You know, I've even heard, too, where people have had scheduled surgeries, like they needed a surgery, they had something come up and they had to go to the hospital and get a surgery, but their surgery got canceled because their credit score was something messed up. There was messed up with their credit score. I mean, I some of this stuff is just pretty crazy when you think about it, the way it happens.
And the law that was enacted, I think it was during the Bush administration, where the credit reporting agencies were forced to say, listen, okay, we're going to have to let people have access to their credit report at least every 12 months. Okay, that's how all these new credit monitoring sites have popped up. I tell people, take advantage of that. There's a numerous amount of sites out there where you can view your credit report. Constantly look at your credit report. I look at my credit report daily. Okay, on these free monitoring sites. Okay, the score may not be accurate, but most of the time the content is accurate on there, and so you can see when something arbitrarily pops up on there, or when something comes off. But you have more control, more access. Prior to 2006, people the only way they could see their credit report is they go to a lender and say, hey, pull my credit, or you can write the credit reporting agency for a credit report. But now, with those free sites, I strongly encourage annual credit report, Credit Karma, freecreditreport.com, whatever. Just get on those sites and then constantly view your credit report.
But be careful too, because they're going to ask you for your credit card. A lot of them.
Well, no.
Right.
If they ask you for your credit card, then I wouldn't go on those. Go on the free ones, like annual credit report. Credit Karma, that's a free one, yeah. Because if they ask you for $1 at the beginning, then they tell you everything's disclosed. Okay, and if you don't opt out or cancel this service in 7 to 30 days, we're gonna start charging your credit card $20-something a month, 24, 20, 40, whatever. Yeah. So go to the free ones, and there's a lot of free ones out there. Credit Karma's one, annual credit report's another one. Yeah. So you can constantly monitor.
What do you think about these companies like LifeLock and some of those? Have you looked into those?
Well, a lot of these companies pop up when the ultimate responsibility is the credit reporting agency in the first place. When the first credit reporting agency was formed as TRW in 1969, all of these offshoots, like even the free monitoring, LifeLock or whatever, the credit reporting agency's job, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, is to protect your information. That's what they're supposed to do. So all these companies are marketing their information, and the credit reporting agency is supposed to do it anyway. So I try to tell people, listen, let's make the credit reporting agency do what they're supposed to do without you having to go pay for extra services like LifeLock or even the monitoring. Okay, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the credit reporting agency, prior to putting information on your credit report, they've got to contact you. So like I was having a discussion off air not too long ago, and a gentleman had something come on their credit report. That was a mistake by the lender. Well, if the credit reporting agency was doing their job according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, when they receive the information, they got to verify this information with you prior to putting on your credit report. They can't just take the information and put it on there. So if they had to call this person prior to putting the information on there, the person would say, oh, no, that's not my information. Then you can have the information, have the information taken off, and you can go after the credit reporting agency for violation of due process. And that's what we do with our credit services. So, and I get people all the time come to me and say, hey, listen, somebody put this on there, and they say it's mine, and it's really not. I know it's not. And I tell people, the lender is partially at fault, but the ultimate responsibility is the credit reporting agency, because they're the ones that put this information on their credit report. And if they would follow the Fair Credit Reporting Act and verify the information prior to putting it on there, they'll find that a lot of people wouldn't have as bad a credit as they would have if they had just followed the law.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it leads to a lot of different scenarios with people. If they don't pull their credit, they don't get the pre-approval, then they're looking for a home, they're going shopping, but they find a house they love, but only to find out, oh wow, their credit score's in the dumps. They didn't realize it. Somebody had put something on their account, whatever the reasoning is.
Be proactive. Be proactive. And the consumer laws out there, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and even aspects of the Uniform Commercial Code, all consumers should familiarize themselves with this. Okay, and they will find themselves, just naturally being more proactive. So you don't want to be blindsided when you're going to buy this home that you really want, and then you find out, hey, I got a negative mark on my credit report that came up 2 years ago. That I didn't even know about it. So the monitoring, but with the monitoring services out there, the free ones, you can be able to catch that right away, and then you can go ahead and just dispute it yourself. You don't necessarily need a credit repair company. You can dispute online yourself. I'm not really a proponent of that, but the first session, try to get it off yourself with an online dispute.
Yeah. And how long does it take normally? Let's say you had somebody that was in mid 500 point, they do have some good trade lines. How long does it take to turn that around if they want to get in the 600s and buy a vehicle or buy a house?
That's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. First of all, here's the bottom line. Remove as much negative information off that credit report as possible. The information that does in fact belong to you. Let's remove that information off the credit report. Your existing positive is what's going to really determine that score, how much is going to go up. Now, you all have simulator or something where the mortgage people do. They have these simulators.
Yep, I've heard
and so
that.
they tell you, well, if you remove these many collections, then your score, based on your existing positive, the score is going to go up that much.
Yep.
Okay. I don't necessarily do that. What I want to do is, if you have negative, let me get that off. And then the credit reporting agency, the credit reports will take care of itself in rescoring you. But if you want to get an ideal, then use one of those simulators that most times the mortgage people have. And you can find out a closer idea of what your score is going to be like. But my whole job is, if you got negative, get that negative off. Inquiries, late payments, collections, charge-offs, tax liens, judgments, anything that's negatively impacting your credit report.
So should we offer some of your credit packages?
Oh, yeah, go for it, baby.
You want to do three of them? Let's do 3 credit packages for the first 3 listeners who text the word credit to our consumer advocate hotline. All you have to do is text the word credit to 813-670-7372. Text the word credit to our consumer hotline here, 813-670-7372. William Crowley is going to hook you up with this credit package. Going to help you understand more about your credit and ways that you can improve it, avoid identity theft, and also obtain your actual free credit report, your annual credit report that you get per year. Text word credit, 813-670-7372. And when we come back, more from Ray Hall Appraisals, and our feel-good story of the day as well. Animal shelters waive adoption fees thanks to donations by Miranda Lambert's Mutt Nation Foundation, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. Ian back.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Published author, professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. We'd love for you to check out a copy there on Amazon. And the book I wrote about 3 years ago, and it's a prequel to our business that we launched called the Business Growth Celebrity Academy. Business Growth Celebrity Academy, which is bgca.co, is the website, bgca.co. The Business Growth Celebrity Academy helps you become a micro celebrity to grow wealth, build personal brand, and increase your status. Anyone can become a micro celebrity. It's easy, and we teach you how to do it at our website, bgca.co. We have daily webinars there, and that's a company that we launched with Ken Shamrock, the Ultimate Fighting Champion, UFC Hall of Famer, and him and Dez actually just launched a bare knuckle fighting, a brand new league called Valor is the name of it. But yeah, so pretty cool stuff going on there with Ken and Dez. And we're back here in studio. We got William Crowley in the house, a.k.a. the Credit Magician. We got Ray Hall Appraisals. And I got a hot property listing I want to let you know about here on ShipWatch. This one's in Largo. And it's a property in ShipWatch. It's a condo. It's a 2-story condo here. No flood insurance because it's so high elevation-wise. 11540 ShipWatch Drive, number 1391 in Largo. It's offered at $258,000. Clubhouses, marinas, tennis courts, library, pro shop with Tennis Pro and all types of good stuff there at this beautiful property. Some nice photography, compliments of Fabre Frameworks as well. Keller Williams is the company. Platinum MVP is the team. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. All right, Ray Hall Appraisals. Let's touch on a couple of those other points you wanted to make here today.
Sure. And it even just happened to me this week, and being in real estate, you know that the person who probably takes the most heat in the transaction is usually us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The appraiser.
The appraiser, inspector, or
I've been doing this, almost 15 years now. I've just learned to be hated by people. But one of the things that happens to us all the time that gets, especially the borrower, so angry is they call me in my office and they say, "Well, what did the value come in at?"
Yeah.
And I have to say, "Well, I can't tell you." Well, what do you mean you can't tell me? That's my appraisal. I paid for it. And what people don't understand is you didn't buy yourself an appraisal. You were really nice, and you bought the bank an appraisal.
Yeah.
And, it's like I always say, it's like buying a car for someone. Once their name's on the title, that's their car, not yours.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
I like that.
And,
y'all didn't hear that.
and it's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, and people just don't understand that because of the privacy rules that we have to follow, they can't be the client. The bank has to be the client.
Right.
And the bank is just saying you have to pay for it. I've had instances where people told the bank, "Well, I'm not paying for it. You pay for it."
Exactly.
And they did it. You should.
And the bank would pay for it if you object?
I've heard of it happening one time.
Oh,
wow.
Just once. But I give that guy credit for trying. So, that's one of the things that we have to, let people understand is this isn't your appraisal. This isn't a lot of people think we're working for the borrower or the buyer, and we're not. We're solely out there when it comes to a real estate transaction. We are solely out there for the bank and the bank only, and that's our client.
Well, if you think about the environment, so you talk about the 3 C's, right? So you got the collateral, you got the capacity, which is the income,
right,
and then the credit. So you got the 3 C's is what you hear about as well. More of these acronyms, William, right, today. The 3 C's. But if you think about it, I mean, here, for the people that want to be complainers out there, I mean, here we are. We're able to leverage most people about a 3% down payment, and we're able to buy a $500,000 home for $15,000 out of pocket with a 3% down. Veterans, of course, you get your 100%. But we're going to complain about some of these things. With an appraisal. Oh well, I bought the appraisal. The bank, the bank's lending you $500,000, man.
And
come on.
True. And over the years, I've learned to kind of understand that. I mean, I think I don't have $500,000 to lend to someone, but if I do, I want to know that it's protected. That's the bank's investment.
Yeah. By the way,
that's how they make money.
It's at a 4% rate these days. 3.8, 4.2, 4.5. We're not quoting certain APRs here, so we can't get in trouble by the mortgage police. But when you look at that, I mean, here we are. We're 2019. I mean, we got it great going on right now. We got the internet. We got so many positive things. But back to appraisals.
No.
What's the next one on appraisals? What was that?
Another one I always get. And I can tell you 99% of the time when we're out at your house and we finish the inspection, we do not know what the house is worth.
Right.
I get that a lot. I finish the inspection. They see me with my iPad. I'm taking a lot of notes. I've taken pictures of everybody. Kicked kids out of the room so I could photograph the room.
Yeah.
And they say, so what's it worth? And I have to look at them and say, I have no idea. That inspection is just kind of a fact-finding mission.
Yeah.
So I'm there trying to see the condition of your house.
Yeah.
What upgrades have you done? What's the quality of construction? When you redid that kitchen, is it all pressed board and Formica, or is it granite and solid wood?
Yeah.
So we're just out. That's the easiest part of my day.
Yeah.
Is driving to houses and taking the pictures and taking the notes. But at the end of that inspection, even if I have my comps, I don't know the value.
Yeah.
And your appraiser's not going to know the value. And as we just said before, even if he does, he can't tell you anyway.
Right.
So, you might as well, give the appraiser the information that can help.
Yep.
But we can't give you any specific information, and trust me, we don't know that value after that inspection.
Yeah.
Which leads into another thing, that you don't get dollar for dollar value on your improvements to a house.
Right.
You may find that a certain improvement brought back more value than what you paid.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone to houses where I know they recently purchased it, and I said, well, what do you think your house is worth?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just spent $7,000 on the fence, so it's got to be $7,000 more than what I paid for it.
Right.
And I've got to spend the next 30 minutes in their house, so I'm just kind of, we'll see.
Just take that information in.
Yeah. Yep, and I make sure I note what their number is when it comes in the caller ID.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Because you're not always going to get that dollar for dollar. I have to look at. So if you bought that fence, you got that fence. I have to look at the comparables and say, okay, who's got the same fence?
Yeah.
And is there a difference in that adjusted value after that fence? So. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I had someone call me up really angry once because I didn't make an adjustment for their light bulbs.
Oh man, they got the nice LEDs. I'm sure
they had LED light bulbs, and and they had a fancy doorbell.
Yeah.
That it had the camera, and they spent like $3,000 on it.
Yeah.
And I said, you didn't even address it. I said, you're right, I didn't. I've never done a superior doorbell feature before, and I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, that's
now, a person
crazy.
can get their own appraiser too to challenge your appraisal, right?
Yes, you can. I've done that as well. In fact, because I'm with, there's two different kinds of appraisers. You have certified and licensed residential appraisers, and you have what's called a certified general appraiser, which I'm a certified general. I can appraise any kind of real estate or any kind of real property. So I do commercial as well. So I have a good friend of mine who had a what we call flex space building, which is kind of like industrial that can be converted into office. He had an appraisal done, and he thought it was low, and I went in and did a review of that appraisal and came up with another value, because I did disagree with the appraiser. So you can, if you have an appraisal that you disagree with, you can hire an appraiser to do what's called a field review, and to see if there's a difference in opinions there.
But only a general, like you, a general?
No, well, if it's a residential appraisal, a residential appraiser can do it. If it's commercial property, you're going to need to get a certified general appraiser to do it.
All right, let's jump into our feel-good story. Every day we're going to tell you something positive here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and today we have a good story for you here.
Tell me something good.
All right, animal shelters waive adoption fees thanks to donations by Miranda Lambert's Mutt Nation Foundation. Miranda Lambert is known for being a huge animal lover, and recent donations her charity has made to animal shelters across the country are making it a little easier for others to rescue animals. In 2019, the country singer's Mutt Foundation has awarded $150,000 in grants to 50 shelters in all 50 states. Quote, "There's a reason dogs like country music. Thank you, Miranda Lambert, for your generous donation that allows SAS to waive adoption fees for a limited time." And quote, the Animal Shelter of Massachusetts wrote on Facebook, lower fees equals more dogs finding homes. We love you, Miranda. The Mutts Across America campaign has donated more than $750,000 in grants to more than 250 shelters since it started in 2015. Mutt Nation Foundation also holds adoption drives at Miranda's concerts, the CMA Music Fest, and the Grand Ole Opry. So cool. Miranda Lambert.
That's all right.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff for the dogs out there. So no lightning round today. we kind of had our lightning round going
shucks.
there. Yeah, we're running out of time, but yeah,
We were too chatty.
So William Crowley, the credit magician. Find him online, raiseourscore.com, rayhallappraisals.com as well. Ray Hall Appraisals, commercial and residential valuations as well. And then, hey, another great show. Thanks so much for coming in, fellas.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me
Thanks to our listeners, our viewers out there. Our TV show on Apple, Amazon, Roku. Search up Binge Networks. You can find our TV show out there. WeBeam TV as well. Of course, 5 o'clock drive time, 1380 The Biz. Your number one advocate right here. It's our show. We're going to help you win in any marketplace. That is our motto and our theme here at the Consumer Quarterback Show. We always end our show the same way. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing. Carry it with you to and from your commute. Hand it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community. Donate, volunteer some time. Lots of ways that you can be a force for good. Be a leader out there. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.